Have you ever wondered what a PvP podcast sounds like? What about a PvP tabletop role-playing game? Here at Roll for Rivals, we answer both questions. And we do it with an action-packed campaign full of captivating stories, thrilling roleplay, and plenty of chaotic comedic moments from our players. Hello, and welcome one and all to the Roll for Rivals podcast, produced by Dice Clash Chronicles and Actual Play PvP D&D podcast network. I'm your host and Dungeon Master Judah Lagg, and together we're about to dive into a story where heroes and villains collide. Rivals are created, and every dice roll could change the fate of the world. Today's episode is all about setting the stage, giving you a glimpse into the world we're about to dive into, introducing you to our players, and meeting the rivals who will be adventuring through this world that I have created, while also trying to survive the strategic attacks from one another. The world we'll be adventuring through is called Eekery, a magical and diverse continent where humanoids fight to survive in the aftermath of a century-long war against the orcs, while the gods sit idly by, bound to watch from the sidelines. Emperor Yalwaric carved a path of unity and peace, a foundation that future emperors could build upon, but the new emperor, Phelan, is off to a rocky start, plagued by public doubt and some unfortunate public outburst. And it's not just the new emperor that's unstable. The very foundation of this young empire is beginning to crack. An ancient, outlawed power stirs in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to undo the very fabric of the universe. And still, the gods remain silent. In this world, the gods grant powers and blessings, but under a cosmic law, they are forbidden from directly interfering in mortal affairs. Though Eekery holds thousands of years of rich history, much of it lies abandoned, scarred by the devastation of the Orc Wars. And now, a new evil rises, creeping just beneath the notice of those too focused on politics, survival, and ambition to see it coming. So, now that we've got our world, let's talk about sound cues, just so you know who you're listening to as the story unfolds. When you hear this sound, you're with the heroes. And when you hear this sound, you're following the villains. Finally, to introduce our casting characters, we'd like to do something special just for you. By having the players play through their introductions, you'll meet the heroes as they cross paths for the first time, brought together at a small tavern under strange circumstances, where their true natures begin to surface. And the villains, you'll meet them as living beings, accomplishing great feats right before their untimely demise and their inevitable resurrection. So on that note, enjoy the show and let the rivalries begin. For our first villain introduction, we're going to be introducing Gabe, also known as Eekery, or Eekery. How do you pronounce it, Gabe?
It's kind of like a surname and then like a regular name. It is Eekery.
Eekery, awesome. So we're going to be following the trails of Eekery. So, Gabe, imagine yourself kind of being a nightcrawler in the capital city that's elevated off the ground on a plateaued mountain. And this kind of capital is known as Farron, and the larger country for Cloth. So, you're naturally a night dweller, so you were going to be up anyway, but tonight is kind of special. There's a party. It's one of those Friday nights for everybody. Everybody's out celebrating long work week. And what is Eekery right now?
Eekery would be doing just kind of like a nightly stroll, like wandering around. As a kind of typically minding his own business, but also just kind of keeping an eye out, seeing if there's any particularly like well-dressed people or anything like that he might be thinking might be an easy target for later on.
Okay, so I guess we're just going to go ahead and start this recording off with a roll. So go ahead and roll perception.
Alrighty. Oh my god, that's a nat 20. Probably the one and only I'll get in like 10 years.
So with a nat 20, you do notice a suspicious duo. You see a rough-looking individual, but very wealthy. Like, he's got chains, he's got rings and jewelry all over him. But underneath all of that jewelry and wealth, he actually has hide armor to protect himself. Normally, someone with this much wealth would protect themselves with flattering armor, like chainmail or royal knight armor, or something similar to that. But this guy has kind of downgraded himself to hide armor for whatever reason. But you see this guy speaking to a cloaked individual, and the cloaked individual is actually wearing a nice velvet hood from top to bottom, which is kind of strange. Obviously, they don't want their appearance noticed by the public, but still, they're at the same time, they're still quite revealing with this very wealthy robe.
Interesting.
But out of the corner of your eye, you notice something emerging from an alleyway. Something that is actually so blatantly obvious, it stuns you as to why people are not noticing. But you see children playing around it, you see guards walking past it, peasants just selling produce next to it, but you see a shadow with black tentacles literally coming from the alleyway, and you see two green eyes open, almost as they're calling specifically to you.
That's not threatening at all. That's suspicious. Let's see. I guess my character would be kind of creeped out seeing the shadowy tentacle thing with the green eyes staring at him. Even seeing the other people around in the area, I feel like that would take more focus from him, and seeing the eldritch horror that's kind of showing up in the alleyway.
How does Eekery respond?
I would kind of just start backing away and kind of maybe trying to slide my way past the alleyway and just kind of keep walking forward, but keeping like an eye on it, like kind of like having like a side eye glare, like while I'm like trying to walk away.
You know, like the cartoon visual where like a hand does like a motioning to come towards them?
Yeah.
You see a ghoulish like hand emerge from the shadow and do that to you. And as that happens, you see like a kid kind of like playing in the area, and it kind of phases through the arm, like kind of brushes it away like mist in the wind. It seems like you're the only person who can notice this.
That's not suspicious at all. Okay, I'm going to very slowly just kind of walk, I guess, towards the alleyway now, but kind of like at like the corner of it. Like I'm not gonna walk straight into it yet. Just kind of want to walk towards it while also like kind of taking another just like look around the surroundings, just like double check like there's nothing gonna come in behind me while I go down this alleyway. Like nothing's gonna pop out.
Okay, what's your passive perception? Unless you just want to go ahead and roll.
I could just go ahead and roll. I believe my passive perception is 13, but I'm not entirely sure as I don't have my sheet in front of me.
Okay, yeah, go ahead and roll.
That's not good at all. That was a 3.
You were probably better off keeping your passive perception.
Yeah, that's most likely.
Well, let's say that you went from like super cautious to complete bliss as you walk towards him, seeing that kid just kind of phased through the arm. So you're walking up to it as like you don't have a care in the world. And once you get up
Like,
to
it's a
the
ghost.
shadow,
It can't hurt.
if it didn't hurt that little kid, how could it hurt me? So the eldritch horror showing itself through the alleyway. The hand sucks back into the mist and then comes back out with a second hand and a paper scroll.
Let's see. Is a scroll just like kind of like you just hands it out and it just like unfurls and just has like a thing on there where it'll show like the obvious on there is like here, sign down here at the bottom.
Kinda. We will say that it unrolls itself. However, it shows something entirely different. So once the scroll unrolls itself, you notice that has the appearance of a old scroll, worn out paper, worn out rolls to keep the scroll. It just looks ancient.
Okay.
But when you unroll it, though, the text itself is not ancient at all and is actually pointing in the direction of the opposite alley. It reads, "This is a bounty. indicating the death, marking Charles a gang member with multiple charges of murder, thievery, and bribery. Upon turning in his corpse, you will receive 100,000 gold.
That's a lot of gold.
So the text itself is not very old. In fact, underneath all that text, you see a ghostly arrow pointing in the direction of that character that you saw earlier with all the jewelry but the hide armor. And as you turn in that direction, chasing the arrow with your eyes, you notice that the hooded character has left and the person that is indicating is Charles actually enters a pub.
So staring at me, there's the scroll that tells me is the person it's a 100,000 gold bounty for this person that I've already seen and already see him walking into the pub.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So I'll say, this seems like this could be really easy money. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do it, and I'm just gonna take my little rat nail, and let's say just like kind of poke it into my hand right there, sign on the contract, and just go ahead and walk into the pub.
So as you sign the contract, you notice that your fingernail kind of goes through it as if it itself is kind of a spirit. But as you finish signing your name, it goes poof, and then plops into your hands and retains a physical state.
Ghost mail.
Yep, exactly. So what does Eekery do next?
So Eekery will take that scroll and just kind of like stuff it into like his little like the inside of his shirt that he's got, or like his like gi or whatever that he wears. And then he decides to go inside the pub that he saw the target Charles go into, and he's just gonna kind of sit back and stand by or go sit down at one of the tables that's kind of near the exit of the pub and kind of keep an eye out to see what Charles is doing inside the bar.
All right, so you make your way to the pub, and when you enter, you notice that he's at the bar drinking with a couple of friends.
Let's see, so he's got people around him, so going up just by myself would not be a good call for this one for sure. Let's see, I'm gonna try to wait him out and just kind of like stalk him almost a little bit until he decides he's gonna make himself alone, like if he goes to a restroom area or like if he goes outside the bar.
Okay, I'll go ahead and say that you've been sneaky enough that you don't have to roll. Like, you've kind of secluded yourself for the whole day. I doubt like you'd mess up now. So you sit in the back, just kind of wait. Maybe you order a drink or two, but you stay as sober as possible. Every hour passes, you notice Charles getting drunker and drunker, finally to the point where he can barely keep himself standing. Finally, you notice your shot. Charles stands up and he says, "I'm gonna go take a piss," and walks out the front door, supposedly to the same alleyway that he was visiting with that character.
Let's see, shortly after he leaves out the door, I'm gonna go ahead and try to follow him out to that alleyway.
All right, so you follow him out to the alleyway, and you notice deep within the alleyway, he's peeing on the side of the wall.
Let's see, I will try to stealthily as possible try to kind of come up behind him while he's drunk, and hopefully he doesn't see me coming. And then try to use, I know my character has the ability to do like a poison strike. Try to do that so I can try to make sure that I can just kind of get him in one hit and see if I can try to poison him.
All right, so I'll go ahead and, since it's like a surprise, I'll kind of just give it to you. Yeah. And he's so drunk, it'd be like with triple advantage anyway.
go ahead and just like use a poison strike, like try to get him in like the neck or somewhere that doesn't have the hide armor on there.
All right. So is this with like a dagger or with your claws?
Like my claws, yeah.
All right. So you reach around to the front of his neck and just gash the front of his neck wide open, dripping with poison liquid and now blood. You see him turn around, grasping his neck, then reaching out to you to try and keep himself standing, and then falling to the floor in a pool of his own blood.
Yep. So I would see that, and then I would try to just take like a perception check to look around inside this alleyway to see if there's anywhere that I can kind of drag him away, get him further away from people, so that I can try to do somewhat to cover him up and get his body over to where I can collect the money for that contract.
So make a perception check.
It was a 16.
So there is a portion of the alleyway that you can take him. It's deep in the back. There's kind of like a dump area. I wouldn't say like it's a dumpster because that'd be modern day terms. Like this is more like a literal trash pile that it seems that the innkeep just throws all his garbage. But as you begin to pick him up to drag him over there, you notice his three friends walk out.
Let's see. So they see him. Like they see him immediately.
They go, Charles, the Phantom Butcher? Did you kill him? A crooked finger's now pointing at you.
Let's see. I'll try to go with the intimidation factor. I was like, already got his blood dripping on my nails. Like I'm caught red-handed. I'm just gonna try to do like a little flex, like kind of a little like snap out with like my claws and just be like, yep, I killed him.
Go ahead and make an intimidation roll.
That is a 18.
So with an 18, you notice kind of a shiver go down that person's spine who's talking to you. But you're very shocked at what comes out of his mouth next. He goes, I don't think you understand, but what you've just done shakes the foundation of this entire city. And then you feel in your back pocket where you placed the scroll, it kind of absorb into your body, and you notice kind of a green mist encompass itself around your belt. The friend says, you are the new leader of the Farron Bandits.
I would be shocked, but I would try to play it off like I'm not. So I'll just be like, is that so? It looks like I have to keep myself busy then.
Yeah, you don't understand what you've just done. You've just killed the unkillable. Nobody has ever been able to take him by surprise, and he's such a good escape artist that anytime you try to even get close to him with a dagger, he disappears into thin air. What you've just done is you've completely unwritten an entire legacy, and there's no other way to reward you except making you the leader.
So if I am the leader, then take me to where you guys have a headquarters or wherever you guys lay your heads at night.
So you notice the two guys standing behind the talker walk around you and grab the body, and you kind of get an understanding that they're going to dispose of the body. And the guy talking says, okay, follow me. So you guys walk through the shadows of the city, like the darkest of darkest areas that you've never even been before. Corners and crevices of this town that just you would never even think of a hiding place without being there. You finally make your way to the underground sewer system, where you go take several turns, your character documenting the turns in order to traverse these later. And then finally you get to a wall where the guy presses a brick in, and the wall then moves backwards and then slides to the side, revealing a secret underground cave where several bandits sleep, train, fight, drink, all manner of tomfoolery.
Let's see. So I'm just kind of seeing all of this just unfold, and just how many members does it seem like? Like if I'm just staring at this, does it look like there's like tons and tons of them, or is it kind of like a private club kind of thing where there's maybe like 30 or so? Like,
well, you notice that the room is kind of divided into 4 pools.
Okay.
And you can kind of gather that this is no ordinary organization that you've gotten yourself into. This seems to be an organization that is almost like a corporation, and you have just become the leader of it. So you've got two pools on the left. They're kind of like really rough around the edges, like scars, cuts, and even like stitches all over their body. And they have all sorts of like body modification, like nails through their skin and earrings and nose piercings. They're kind of like the grunge or gothic part of this organization. And you notice they're all centered around this one person who almost looks like the Hellraiser.
Looks like Pinhead.
Yeah, Pinhead. He looks like Pinhead. And then you notice to the right, you see like just kind of a general bandit gang. You notice a bunch of almost pirates just kind of gathered around each other drinking, and you can tell who kind of the leader is of that group as well, because they have the biggest beard and the biggest amount of jewelry. And then you notice on the right side there's two more pools. There's an empty throne that kind of sits higher than the rest of the pools, and like one or two people over there. And then you notice below that to the right, you notice the last pool, which is like almost a group of high class gang members. Like you can tell that they're kind of unruly still, kind of like a bandit, but they have mannerisms that almost depict noblism. And
it's kind of like your mobsters, like your Italian mob boss kind of.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to describe it. And you can tell who the leader of that group is as well, because they stand the highest of all of them. So the guy who escorted you here, he goes, "Sir, what's your name?"
"My name is Eekery. You better get to know it."
And so the guy makes an announcement. "We have an important announcement. We have a new leader." And you hear everybody kind of gasp, and then they start arguing and yelling. And the guy says, "I know you can't believe it either. The Phantom Butcher could never be killed, but tonight he was slain. Even though it was in the darkest of ways, behind the back while the man was pissing, a kill still counts as a kill. Everybody celebrate Eekery joining the Farron mob." And they all start cheering, kind of half-heartedly, almost like an undeserved cheer. So then the guy escorts you to the chair, the empty chair, which is where you sit.
All right, so I'm getting the empty throne. I was figuring that's where I was going once I was like, oh, all three of those have a spot, but that one doesn't.
You notice, that the area, the cave, the den that you're in, is divided into 4 areas. 3 areas are kind of on the same plane. They are on the same level. And then your area is kind of elevated on through rubble and platform and just all sorts of items, just to kind of visually make you look higher than everybody else.
Let's see. So once I get over to my throne, I'm gonna ask the guy that was leading me in and talking and everything. I'm like, so who's the normal second person in charge here after the leader?
Well, I could be your second in command if that's what you're asking, but I don't think that's what you're asking. I think you're asking about the groups. Well,
oh no, I was asking him like, who's my right hand man if I'm the leader?
Oh, that would be me, Ghibli.
Ghibli, give me a rundown on the leaders of the other 3 groups.
All right, so in the far corner we have the Slayers. That's the Gothic people. They're known for their just brutality of their missions. They basically conduct all the darkness that our gang does. Any dirty work that you don't want to do, you give to them. Something that's too devastating, too disgusting that no sane man could do it, you give it to the Slayers. And then you've got the run-of-the-mill bandits.
Yes, the pirate-looking ones.
Yes, we call them the Recloth Sea Bears. They roam the streets, kind of do your petty thievery, and even occasionally, as their name states, they go on the seas and do pirate missions, breaking into soldiers' ships and scavenging the seas.
And what of the other group, the cleaner ones? What do they do?
Those are basically our spy system. We call them the nobles, as their dress wear appears, but They hate it when we say that. They'd rather be called the Golden Claw. And that's because most of them sit high-seated on the throne of Raklav. Many of them are chairmen of the Emperor himself.
Interesting. Let's see, so they're the ones of high power.
Well, don't say that in front of anybody else, but in my opinion, yes, sir. If it weren't for us, they would probably be next for the picking. But don't let anybody bully you, though. You got to stay strong up in this joint.
Oh, I know. I'll do just fine.
Well, it's good to meet you, sir. And he shakes your hand, and then we get a visual of several days passing where you're getting to know people passing you dirty looks, but then you kind of get acquainted and you start going on missions and stuff. And we get to the point where several weeks have passed and you're walking through the city. You're making your way downtown, probably dressed similarly to Charles, maybe some jewelry over your hide armor, and all of a sudden you notice a bag get thrown over your head and your arms and legs grabbed, and you just feel the beating of 1,000 punches devastating your body. And after several beatings, you notice you're at the edge of the wall of Farron, and you're hundreds of feet above the sea level. If you turn, you can just barely see through your bag that if you get kicked off, you're going straight to the ground off the plateau of Farron. When they pull the bag off, you notice the cloaked individual from several weeks earlier. You can't see under the hood, but you can tell that there's some sort of royal status. Maybe he's connected to the nobles, maybe he's actually connected to the emperor himself, but without any more notes of his appearance, there's no way that you could tell. But then he begins to speak.
Okay.
Do you even know the trouble that you've started?
All I know is you look familiar. I've seen you before, haven't I?
You're disturbing my entire plan. I don't know how familiar I am to you, but one thing's for certain, I will not let some peasant get in my way.
Peasants. Don't you know who I am? I am the leader of this organization. It's like I run the biggest crime syndicate there is.
Who do you think put Charles there before you? But you killing him has completely upset all of my plans. I hope you enjoyed this few weeks of the high life.
I doubt these will be my last. I'm sure I'll live another day.
After you say that, you see that he reveals his foot and he Spartan kicks you off the wall. As you turn to face the ground, you speed up, falling straight down the side of the cliff, face planting in the ground, killing you instantly. Hello, and welcome to the second villain introduction. Today, we're introducing Ozen the Oozen's backstory and his voice actor, Zane. Go ahead and introduce yourself and what your character is and looks like.
Hey, I'm Zane. I'm playing Ozen the Oozen. He's originally a Goliath. He's the leader of the Doom Guardians, which is a band of mercenaries.
So today, we're actually going to go through your final moments with the Doom Guardians. Picture this. We are in a red desert similar to Arizona. We are bordering the lands of Raklav and Delfondo. A human clan is trying to take out the hobgoblins that infest Delfondo. They are approaching the Raklav borders and inching ever so closer to the human clans. So, one high-ranking noble has paid you, General Ozen, not yet Oozen, to help them fight this battle to push them back into their lands. We see we're on a cliffside looking down into the battlefield. Your Doom Guardians and yourself, General Ozen, now look down. You see humans and hobgoblins and goblins fighting each other, killing each other, arrows flinging everywhere, fireworks going off as cannon shots, because these hobgoblins are technologically advanced, having metal and fireworks and gunpowder. It seems that it is now time to strike. You've been ordered to approach. Jer, your lieutenant, is standing right next to you.
Sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I've been meaning to ask you, but, what is the strategy of today?
You see, it's the same strategy we always have. We just send in our men, have a fine look-see. Seem to be doing pretty decent.
And then you hear a comment from the back. A high elf with golden skin and long blonde hair, dressed in black hide armor. Yeah, isn't that always the plan with this bunch? And he kind of rolls his eyes with his arms crossed. Jer says, "Hey, quiet you!" Sorry,
Thank
sir.
you,
I
Dustin.
won't let that insubordinate rat say that again.
It's quite all right. I can fight my own battles.
As you say that, you hear a horn blare in the distance. This is the signal.
This is the signal.
What do you do next?
I look at
I say, actually, let's turn around.
I look at Jared and I go, what's the signal again?
So that was it. That was the signal.
Yes, the signal. I definitely didn't forget what this. I try to act like I know what this signal is, and I turn to the golden elf man and I go, "All right, well, I guess I better be off."
The golden elf man and Jer both kind of like in unison. They say like, "Yep, we better be off." So you guys then start marching down the cliff to get to the battle. You guys make it to the battle, and the Doom Guard spread out, taking on hobgoblins in very fancy ways. All of your men are very well trained with years of experience, several veterans amongst you guys. You, specifically, don't really have much finesse with your combat. However, what you lack in finesse, you exhibit in brute strength, slicing through hordes and waves of enemies. How might you describe your combat style? What might you be doing at this time?
At this time, I'm probably, you know that scene from The Dark Knight where he's like, "Hey, his ferocity, his size, his speed." I'm picking up guys by their legs and I'm just slinging them around. I'm like, "Oh, out of my way!"
That's great.
Just moving straight through the hordes.
That's great. So go ahead and give me a roll to see how well you and the Doom Guardians are doing.
Let's see here. Oh, God. How about a 2?
Oh, no. So with a 2, you guys start to get a little bit unorganized, and hobgoblin start making their way into your ranks. Now that you're close up to them, you actually can see what they look like and what they're wearing, and these are no mere hobgoblins from any fantasy story. These are advanced warfare type goblins. You notice that every single goblin has as close as possible to plate armor from head to toe. All the goblins, if they're not just like let free to kind of do whatever they want like rabid animals, they're actually wearing metal armor themselves and even wearing helmets as well. And all of them in unison are also wearing black, purple with red detailed paint as like handprints and red painted scars, stuff like you'd see that the Eekery from Lord of the Rings would wear. So they start infiltrating your line and start actually taking out some of your guys.
These guys is cheating. They brought protection.
Jer says, General sir, they've made it in.
Well, make them out.
So Jer, he's gonna like look at you with with determination. He goes, "Yes, sir," and he's gonna start trying even harder than he was before. However, this ultimately gets him injured, so he just starts flinging his swords about, and a stray arrow pierces the side of his hip.
Oh, Jer!
Jer, this young human, is now laying on the side of the ground, and he goes, "No, sir, I'm okay." And he breaks off the arrow and stands back up to fight again.
Jeez. Jer, do you need a patch up or something?
No. I'll be okay, sir. I'll be okay.
All right, well, back to the front.
And then you start slicing through hordes and waves of hobgoblins. So you now have conjoined with the humans. You finally made it to their position in the battlefront. So one of the human generals rides up in a horse. He's wearing pristine knight armor from head to toe, and he's got nice banners. It almost looks like he hasn't even been in the battle. And he approaches you in like a really nice white horse.
Oh, well, what's all this then?
You've finally made it, have you?
It appears I have.
It took you a minute. We had to send out the signal like 3 or 4 times.
It's kind of weird. Like, start scratching my head.
Well, never mind that. Up ahead, the dirty hobgoblins are about to release their secret weapon. We don't know what it might be, but we have decided that we want you to take care of it. Here, take this. And he hands you a stick.
Wow, this is quite the honor. And I just kind of start inspecting it.
This is the secret weapon. Now, it's a one-use weapon, so don't just go out there shooting it against anything. Now, when the time comes, whatever that creature may be, you point the stick up to its face, and then you break one of the tiny limbs off of it.
Yeah, okay. Well, what can I expect this to do?
It will kill the monster immediately.
Okay.
Drop dead, without even breaking a sweat.
Even if they're wearing that fancy armor?
Yes, through the armor. But the thing is, we do not know what their secret weapon is yet. We've been told from our scouts that it is a monstrosity of a creature.
Well, it appears I'll make quick work of it.
Yes, and then make a perception check.
My gosh, an 8.
You see him like wink, but it's not directed at you.
Like a little bit of a frown.
So he then says, all right, back to the battlefront. I have lots of men to direct. And he kicks his horse and he trots back to the front lines, but not actually to the front lines because he's just going to stand behind his men.
Something's wrong here, but oh well, I'll get through it.
So Jer says, sir, they're flanking us from the east. And you notice a wave of just normal goblins who look like they're like high on crack, just sprinting at you guys, foaming at the mouth with swords flinging about.
Maybe it's best if we fall back a little.
Okay, sir. So Jer commands the men to create a formation, but then start walking back a little bit. So,
all right. Phalanx! We're gonna cover each side.
So your men start covering each side, and the goblins start jumping all over you guys. You see several of your guys freaking out as the goblins are like grabbing at their hair and pulling at their face. Almost doing no damage if it weren't for their sharp teeth.
Oh, the horror.
Turtledurf would be proud. So, what are you doing this time?
I'm just trying to reinforce the phalanx. I've got each of my hands pressed out, palms open on the back of these shields, like, oh!
So, I'm going to roll to see how successfully they do that. All right. It seems that the dice are not on your side today. So your companions from the Doom Guardian, they are trying their best. But whatever hallucinogens these goblins are on are strengthening them, pushing you guys into a corner. When all of a sudden, Verithan uses your colossal body as a tower and starts throwing out daggers, killing the goblins, subduing them.
Oh, hell yeah.
Maybe, General Ozen, you should take a page out of my book. He seems pretty disappointed at you, but he jumps off of your body and now is trying to steal the spotlight from you and is trying to lead the charge back to the east flank.
I start pointing my stick at him suspiciously.
Jer says, wait, no. It's too early for that, sir. Also, who are you aiming that at?
What? Oh, I was just trying to steady myself. I could double it as a walking stick for now.
Oh, yes, of course. Gotta keep your stamina. That is so intelligent. Oh my gosh, that is so good. I should write that down. And you see him pull out a notebook and he says, use armaments as walking sticks. That's genius. So you're so intelligent. And he puts the book away and he starts murmuring to himself as he gets ready for the next wave of monsters.
Well, thank you. And I kind of wipe the nervous sweat off my brow.
Then you guys approach the east flank with Verithan leading the guard. And the next wave are a group of hobgoblins, but their armor suspiciously looks different than the rest. Their armor is clean, no markings. It almost looks like they haven't even touched the battlefield. But not only that, the other hobgoblins sometimes one looks like they have like scrap armor. Like it's still plate armor, but it looks like it's been made of scraps. These guys look like they've had armor forged from the mines of Moria. Like it's beautiful, but scary, with sharp edges, spikes, and haunting looking appearance. They have their swords in front of them, ready to strike. One of the hobgoblins puts down his sword into the red sand, and he lifts up his helmet to reveal his red hobgoblin face. You will not get past this line.
Oh, put your helmet back on. You look disgusting.
He retorts, no more disgusting than you.
I heard that.
I wanted you to hear that.
Well, how about you hear this? I look behind me. Do I have any archers?
Yeah.
Archers! Ready and loose!
Alright, so go ahead and make a roll on your archer's behalf.
God, Judah. These rolls are booty cheeks. I got a 9.
Well, I got a 9 too.
No!
So, I'll say... I'll consider that an armor class. So, your archers actually beat them. So, your archers shoot a barrage of arrows at the hobgoblins. 2 of them get taken down because your archers are just so good, they know the weaknesses in armors. However, the one speaking and the one next to him are fine, and they start sprinting at you with unnatural speed. They've made it to your front, and they actually clip Vargyr, which shocks him because he's not known to have battle injuries as much as everyone else in your group. But on top of that, the other one actually chops off 2 heads at the same time of your Doom Guardians.
Well, obviously I have to retaliate, so I'm gonna brandish my war axe and try and take a swing at this guy.
All right, so I'm gonna make a contested check. So go ahead and roll.
Okay. Ooh, finally, I got a 19.
With a 19, you chop down the mouthy hobgoblin, completely cutting him in half.
You.
Now the other one is left, and he's going to try to attack you. He misses, leaving him open. I'm going to say that you're going to go ahead and just retaliate. And how do you want to retaliate?
I want to try and grab his head and smash it like a watermelon.
So you squish his head, and because he's wearing that metal helmet, it actually crushes his head like a soda can, and he drops down, actually creating an opening into the enemy's position. So Vargyr, staggered, he kind of brings himself back together, and he kind of retreats into your group to kind of like hide his shame. Jared's like, yeah, we got him, let's go! And so the Doom Guardians now are marching their way into the enemy's position. So you are now deep enough into the enemy territory that you could heavily weaken them, probably winning this battle. However, as soon as they see you, a horn is blown, and you see a large metal structure that's being wheeled onto the battlefield. And as it gets closer, you notice the gates being banged on from the opposite side as if it's containing something. You hear a hobgoblin shout to release the beast, and the doors fling open, and you see a troll that has metal armor and spikes coming out of its body, as if the hobgoblin sharpened several metal spikes and shoved it into its body. Because of its healing properties, it actually heals over the spikes, creating a defense.
Oh, this is it. I look at my walking stick like it's a Roman candle, and I can't tell which way I'm supposed to hold it.
Yeah.
Can I try and investigate, like, what side of the stick I'm supposed to aim?
Yeah, make an investigation check.
Okay. What does a 5 give me?
Nothing. Jer says, "It's in your heart, sir."
Oh yes, the heart of the cards. And I take the stick and I look at it and I'm like, this side looks narrow enough. And I just kind of point it out towards the troll and I snap off a branch.
So, as you snap off the branch, nothing happens. And the troll then stomps its way over to you and looks at you with disappointment. Then it takes out its large fists and starts beating you into the ground. Smashing you, breaking every single bone in your body.
Jared, hit me!
So the troll stops beating on you, but as you call out to Jer, you look over and the Doom Guardians have actually restrained Jer. And you see them putting knives and swords up to his throat, and you see Verithan walking up to your corpse with his arms behind his back in a menacing kind of arrogant stance. You poor soul. You never knew what was coming, did you? And then you see the general from the human clan trotting up on his horse, and you see another human with a long white beard almost reaching the ground from top of his horse. He hops off the horse and walks up to Verithan, and he hands a large bag to Verithan. And then Verithan, he grabs it, opens it, and you kind of see the shine of gold. Verithan then says to you, "You know, maybe we could have gotten along, but like you've always said, you gotta follow the money. So I guess this is goodbye." And then you see the old man kind of waddle over to you, and in your dying breath, you see him, "No, this is not enough." He stands up, and he rips the bag out of Verithan's hands, and he says, "The job's not complete. He's too powerful to be buried. I want you and your men to take him to the Council of Wizards, and I want you to place a curse on him." Verithan says, "Half now, half later, then you've got a deal." I actually need you to play an NPC for me.
Okay.
So, we now change the scenery far, far, far away into the top of a tower. You see the mystical columns holding this roof up from far above the sky. Blue bricks and several artifacts and intricate tools surrounding this oval room. At the center of this room, you notice a sigil in the ground accompanied by a large stone sarcophagus, presumably where Ozen's body is located. Then you see a blue light, and out of the blue light comes 3 wizards. You, the High Council wizard, me, a regular novice wizard, and another novice wizard. "Sir, I don't think this is really moral. Placing a curse on the dead body? You know that we should not be dealing with death like this, or even in such immoral practices in witchcraft."
Clerics and healers deal with morality. We deal with study. We must find what is unknown and uncover it.
"Sir, but this type of magic is already known. It's known to be evil, cursed, and corrupting. I mean, what if we corrupt the entire monastery?"
I could have you written up for insubordination right now.
No. I'm just saying.
Are you to say that you are arguing with me?
No. I'm merely stating an opinion. Just trying to get a philosophical discussion going. And, sir, philosophically, this just doesn't sit well with me.
Well, philosophically, I've noted your opinions, and I'm going to move forward with this.
Then the 3 wizards take their places, begin the incantation. However, your wizard notices a distraught look on my face. So as the incantation starts, you notice the sky around you turns dark. Green lightning starts zapping around you. Finally, a green streak of lightning strikes the top of this tower and strikes the sarcophagus. You notice that you and one of the other wizards are projecting almost a blue aura over the sarcophagus. However, the insubordinate wizard is almost casting a green aura over the sarcophagus. "Sir, I don't think I can do this."
No, you must pull your weight.
"Sir, I don't, sir." And then An explosion erupts, and it shoots all the wizards back to the corners of the oval. I mean, corners, I guess the farthest point of the oval room. And you notice a burning green sigil on the casket.
Oh, now this wasn't in the manual.
It is a wonderful, beautiful day in the land of Verklav. There's a celebration ahead, with the new emperor about to be crowned. However, that's hours in the future, and right now we find ourselves in a small, quaint town just below the plateau of Farron. We see peasants and townsfolk getting ready for the celebration, putting up banners and all sorts of party decorations in celebration. However, one of our party members are working his full-time job at the local tavern. Charles, go ahead and introduce your character, the tavern name, because it is yours, and maybe what your character's doing at the moment.
Well, either way, my name is Flint Stonewall, and I'll be playing a level 3 Mountain Dwarf Artificer in the Armory class. But what he would be doing is just any like upkeep, depending on like if it's like the end of the day or whenever the time is, but whatever stuff that needs to be done at the tavern. Anything that needs fixing, like furniture wise, cleaning, keeping inventory on stuff, just basic general stuff in order to run and upkeep the tavern. But as far as the name of the tavern, is basically the family name itself, the Stonewall Tavern.
Alright, that's perfect. So, your grandfather walks over with what seems to be a scroll. And he goes,
Flint, I was just coming to see you.
and you see him with a quill and with ink on the tip.
Okay, well, how you doing there, Grandpa? Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing good today. Well, I just stopped by the courthouse and decided in celebration we should be celebrating many things. And I want to give you half of the tavern.
Grandpa, you didn't have to, but I greatly appreciate it. Well, thank you.
Yeah, out of all of your siblings, it seems that you respect this place the most and respect your heritage. You're the only one who has adopted our legacy of armor smithing and also brewing. So you could go ahead and give it a new name if you want. You just sign it right here and then sign your name, and I'll go turn it into the courthouse.
Well, either way, regardless, we'll still keep with tradition and keep the name the same. But, and again, greatly appreciate and thank you, Grandpa.
And that's why you're my favorite. Don't tell Alexander.
Wink, I sure won't.
So you then sign everything and you keep the name the same, and your grandfather rolls up the scroll and you see him waddle out of the inn. So today, with it being as special as it is, several people are actually off of work. So a lot of them have nothing better to do but just drink until the celebration and just pregame it. So they are actually inside of the tavern. And which means that on top of getting all the celebratory decorations and festivities ready, you're also serving guests at the same time. So today is a very beautiful but also very busy day. The inn smells of warm, fresh ale and bread and candles burning away at the wick. Just normal tavern smells and atmospheric settings that you would smell in any tavern. With the mix of people and races from all over the country. Specifically, you see a kind of a depressed orc just sitting alone on the other side of the inn. You see a wood elf bard playing away at a lute. You see several humans gathered around a table. It looks like that they're playing some sort of game as they cheer every so often and then sigh. And then you see a couple of half-elves, halflings, even a dwarf or two, which are pretty rare, just all doing some form of celebration or drinking their sorrows away in the middle of the day. All of a sudden, the door swings open, and you see kind of a rough around the edges human redhead. Cody, if you don't mind introducing your character.
I am a half-elf monster hunter ranger.
Oh, my bad. I said you looked like a human. Well, I guess you do kind of look like a human.
You're half right. Yeah, monster hunter, half-elf ranger. Who's come to the tavern to just rest, and probably looking for another monster hunting contract, and then he'll just move on. So he's not staying long, or not planning to.
All right, so are you going to head to the bar and talk to the innkeep, which is the short, stout dwarf who also has red hair?
Sure.
Alrighty, Charles. So this character busts through the doors, and you see him scan the room and then immediately stomp his way over to the bar.
Alrighty, well, we'll see him come in and say, "Hey, what brings you into the Stonewall Tavern today? Can I get you anything to drink?"
Yeah, just give me whatever, and I'm just kind of resting here for a minute and maybe looking for any kind of monster hunting contracts, if you know of anything.
Okay, well, as I'm pouring a drink for him, what do I happen to know any contracts of any kind?
Yeah, go ahead and make a wisdom check to see if you've heard anything or witnessed anything around town.
Okay, let's see here. That would be a no. That is a 5.
Everything's been very peaceful. The only rumor that you've heard is that because we're so close to such a grand ceremony, that the Emperor has ordered guards, mercenaries, and huntsmen of all sorts to basically clear out the region and make sure it is as safe as possible. So you're kind of coming in second place right now, Cody. You came in a little too late.
Oh, well.
And then as I come back, I'll hand you your drink, and I would say, well, sorry. As of recently, the king has actually ordered a bunch of mercenaries to take out anything monster related or any trouble of any kind for the given festivities on the way.
Would I happen to know this upcoming thing is going on or not? Or do you have to, physically tell me?
So the ghost puts his hand on your shoulders and he puts his face close to your ear to whisper to you, even though he knows that no one can see him or hear him. He says, "Yes, a tremendous opportunity. This is why I've brought you here. Not the Emperor himself, but what is attracted to him. Stay alert. Keep your eyes open for anything suspicious or undead."
I can just imagine getting closer into my ear when he says
Yeah,
that.
it's like his lips are getting closer and closer and tighter as he's like, "The undead."
He kind of jerks his head away because he's so close. And kind of gives him a side eye.
Charles, you see Vargyr jerk away and look to nothingness because there's nobody sitting next to him in the stool. And what do you think about that?
I just are you okay there?
Yeah, it's been a long day. Since there's nothing going on around, I'm not really going to stay long then.
That's understandable. But last scene, something weird happened. Can I make a Arcana check to see if anything is off by chance?
Yeah, it'll be your choice of Arcana or Insight, whatever you want to choose.
I'll say since I don't know about the ghost, I'll do an Insight. That would be a 10, so probably not.
Cody, I don't really like to use this very often, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of break some rules. What's your passive stealth? It's going to be 8 plus your stealth modifier.
I also got a 10.
All right,
yeah, I think, maybe.
So, actually, Charles, you do notice something off with Cody's character, Vargyr.
Well, my character was I'll take note of it. But, and then...
Yeah, this could be a troublemaker.
Possibly, but... Either way, I didn't ask him, well, if you want anything to eat while you're here, too.
Not right now.
Okay, that's fine. But I will keep in tabs just in case anything comes up on the monster hunting or anything related to gun those times. Anything that gets around, maybe the mercenaries or whoever the king hired may have missed something. I'll let you know, but can I get a name by chance?
Vargyr.
Vargyr? Well, if I hear anything, I'll send a message towards your way.
So as soon as you say that, the doors fling open again. And you see 2 things. One, you see a mysterious purple-robed being. And they look human-like, but you see kind of an orange glow underneath the hood. Maybe they've got rare ember-colored eyes. Who knows? But you see them fling open the doors and then immediately speed walk to a booth and sit down. Then, as the as the swinging doors are still flopping back and forth, you notice Grandpa Grim waddling in with what seems to be a tray full of drinks. And he waddles all the way to the bar and gets
Well, I
behind the
will
bar.
meet him halfway at least. I'll
Oh,
go
okay.
over there and grab it for him.
He goes, "Oh, yes, thank you, Flint. Thank you. Take it to the bar. I have something special for you.
Oh, well, what is it? What is it?
I'm trying to invent a game. I think we should spice up the day a little bit. Maybe give our customers a little something to enjoy while we wait for the celebration of the ceremony. I mean, it seems that we've got several hours until that happens.
Well, sure. It sounds like an excellent idea. Let's take a gander at it.
So I went next door and I have brewed several concoctions of alcohol. I've been working on this for months.
Okay. We'll see how many different ingredients are there. Maybe we can do a roulette of some kind.
Exactly
Kind of
what I was
spin the wheel
thinking.
kind of deal.
And I think you and everyone at the bar should be the first.
And so when you look back at the bar, you notice that there's 3 people. There's Vargyr, who's sitting by himself, and then there's an elf lady and a barbarian Goliath sitting next to each other.
Okay. And then you got the group of dwarves that are still there, kind of.
Yeah, there's
playing
2
about.
dwarves on a table in the middle of the tavern, and then there's a group of humans of all sorts of variety around this table cheering and screaming at something that they're doing on the table. There's so many of them that they're actually blocking the view of what's going on.
Okay. Well, either way, let's see. And just a reminder, so Grim introduced the idea of putting random ingredients in drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
Let's take it to the bar and I'll explain the game.
yeah, let's do it.
So he takes it to the bar, or I guess you take it from him to the bar.
Yeah.
And he then waddles behind the bar with you. And Vargyr, you're in close enough range that you can hear this. So Grim states,
So, the rules of the game are simple. I left out the labels, and I have just kind of thrown several ingredients from several parts of Athoria and just kind of shook them together and made several concoctions. I call it Rainbow Roulette.
and as you look at the tray, you notice that either because of dye or the ingredients in them, that they form kind of a rainbow. There's a plethora of colors here that almost makes it look like a smoothie station or something like that.
So he says, some of the drinks will get you drunk immediately. Some of the drinks won't get you drunk at all. And some of the drinks have magical powers as I've slipped things into them. You, sir.
And Grim, with his kind of crooked elderly finger, points at you, Vargyr.
I kind of look at him, but I don't exactly say anything yet.
Here, you should be the first. Take some tension off. I've been doing this for so long. I can tell the stress that they carry into the bar, and a bar is no place for that. This is a stress relieving place. So please, on the house, take one of the cups of your choosing.
So, Cody, you can accept or you can deny the obvious answers. If you accept, you have 2 choices. You can either pick one of the colors, or you can do a random dice roll, a 10-sided die, and I will give you the drink color based on that die number.
Wait, so I have to pick a color if I do accept?
You can pick a color or you can roll to kind of take away the stress of just naming every single color that's there.
Or you could choose not to drink at all.
Yeah, or you could choose not to drink at all, exactly.
Because I have an idea what to do for that just in case.
Oh, mischievous.
So is the liquid already in the different cups?
Yeah. So you could see several mugs on this waitress plate. And if you lean over even a little bit, you can notice all the liquids. And all the liquids have different colors and different kind of textures as well. Some look like smoothies, some look like just straight up liquid, some look like beer with foam coming off the top. Basically, it goes from daiquiri to whiskey.
Can I just kind of sniff it to see if I can determine what's in it?
Sure. Give me a perception check.
19.
Ooh, with a 19, that's really good. With a 19, you can determine the stoutness of the drinks, but not necessarily the ingredients. So you can tell that Grandpa Grimm has completely forgotten the labels of the drinks because they are mixed everywhere. But you can determine kind of a group of them that are very stout. The other half are just kind of, they might be stout or they may be just bland or even virgin.
I'm gonna just drink one of the ones that are probably not as strong, just to be safe.
All right. You can do a 4-sided die or 6-sided die. And of those will be less stout.
Okay, I'll do 4. I got 3.
A 3. All right. So there is a purple drink. It looks like it has the texture of a smoothie a little bit. So do you drink it immediately or do you just grab it?
Drink it.
All right, so as you drink it, you feel something strange overtaking your body. Not like an intoxication, but almost like an infection almost. So you see your ghost on the left side of you, Hemir, and then on your right side, you notice another ghost, a purple ghost that looks like
Oh no,
I love it.
hallucinating.
and then you see a purple ghost that looks like Grimace, the McDonald's character.
Ugh.
And he says, "Did you like my drink?"
He quickly shoves it away because it looks to him like he tried to get poison.
Shove the drink away or the character?
The drink.
All right. And Graham, he notices, he goes, "Oh, was that not one good? What were the ingredients?"
You got me high.
My bad, I'm so sorry. We should keep this one.
So he like takes the drink and he puts it underneath the bar.
And
He
I
goes-
looked at Grim and gave him a wink.
Grim winks back at you. Grim then looks at you, Flint, after winking at you. And he says,
You know that as the owner, you now have to kind of join the party a little bit, if you know what I mean. Why don't you take a sample yourself, Flint?
I understand. And, well, not just myself having a sample. Let's let the whole bar have a sample. Might as well
Yes,
go get
of
this party
course.
started.
So Grim, he's going to put his hand over his eyes and he's going to kind of waft his hand around the plate as kind of a randomizer. And he's just going to grab a random drink. And he hands you a mug that has an orange substance. Then he does kind of the same thing except with both of his hands. And he grabs 2 random drinks and brings it to the Goliath and the elf on the opposite side of the bar.
He says, On the house! Let's get this party started.
And I guess for my drink, gotta see how stout it is or if it has any properties to it. Just see if I can vaguely guess what's gonna happen.
Go ahead and make a perception check. So while you do that, though, Grimace and Behemir actually acknowledge each other and they look at each other.
They go, How about you? What are you doing here?
And Behemir says, "How can you see me?"
Well, I don't know. You seem to be a specter like me.
And he goes, "Yeah, but what are you doing in this body? This is mine." And he goes,
Not if you talk like that.
and then what they're going to do is it looks like they're getting riled up behind your back, Vargyr, and it looks like they're about to fight. So, Charles, what did you get on that perception roll?
That would be another 10. Middle of the road.
I don't think that's quite what I needed. I think you're pretty lost. You might could point out like 1 or 2 that are stout and 1 or 2 that are virgin, but that's it.
Well, I look at it and it's like, and I chug it down.
Just a random one. All right.
Or whatever the one. I thought Grim handed me one.
Oh yeah, he did hand you one. That's right. So when you drink, and it's kind of like an orange liquid, and boy, is it strong! It burns your throat all the way down, but strangely, it keeps on burning. Like as it goes down your throat and into your stomach, it keeps on burning, and it feels like you just drank a ball of lava. And as this happens, it almost tastes like Grim grinded up a hot pepper and put it into a drink. So go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
Which is not good because I have a +0. That's a natural 1. I immediately grab him something to drink.
So not only are you now drunk, but you notice that the hairs on your arms and shoulder
and your beard and the hair on top of your head catch on fire. It doesn't burn, but you can't tell if it's aesthetic or if it'll actually catch the tavern on fire.
As
So
far
what
as
do you
I'm
do?
concerned, I am on fire. So I assume I just look at Grimm's like something's wrong, and I go to our family quarters and just dump in like a thing of like a bathtub of water or whatever is available. I just jump in it.
Well, okay, so you sprint out and you jump into the bathtub. And when you jump into the bathtub, you're still on fire under the water. You're just creating a lot of steam now. So like now the entire shop is filled with steam and it's seeping through the walls in the house. Your siblings then sprint out of the living quarters. They're like, "What's going on? Is the place on fire?" And they look down and they see that the tub is producing geyser amounts of steam into the living quarters. So we're gonna swap back to you, Cody. Vargyr, you can hear Grimace and Behmir arguing behind you.
You can't just claim a body. This vessel willingly drank my living flesh.
And Behmir says, "How was it willing when he did not know the ingredients inside of it?" And Grimace says,
It was still by his own doing. I didn't force him. The grandpa didn't force him.
and Behmir says, "All right, I've had enough of you." And he's going to make an attack roll against Grimace. Natural 20. So Behmir punches Grimace, and when he flies across the room, he actually breaks a wooden pillar holding up the balcony inside the tavern that leads up to the kind of like the rental rooms. So this breaks, and everyone in the room like gasps, like, "What just happened?" And Vargyr, what do you?
I assume that since the ghost is tied to me, they both have to like stay. They're like kind of tethered or some way. So I promptly just get up and just try to make my way out of the tavern because this is getting out of hand.
Okay, so you make your way out of the tavern, and Grandpa Grimm immediately stops you. He goes,
Wait! Where are you going? Don't you want to enjoy the party and the festivities?
I'm not staying here anymore.
Oh, come on, it was just an accident. I completely forgot the ingredients.
and like the whole tavern, they go, "What?" And it seems like they're all now getting up to leave. And even like the guy playing the lute in the corner, like the string breaks. So
And would I hear any of this commotion happening while I think I'm on fire still?
yeah, sure. Actually, in fact, probably the entire bathtub has been converted to mist now.
I love it. So, for as far as I can tell, I'm actually damaging stuff around me in the tavern, as far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way I can make a wisdom check to see if I can go out and see what the commotion is, or if I'm just too far gone and I'm just staying in the bathtub?
You don't have to make a wisdom check. I'd say as long as you kept like a 3-foot distance away from anything wooden, you'll be fine.
I think the whole tavern's wooded.
Yeah, so just COVID rules. Just get your stick out and make sure you're not touching any walls.
Yeah, I'll do that then. I kind of just carefully go through back and say, well, my siblings are there, and it's like, it's okay. I think Grimm just made me a drink, and he forgot what the ingredients were. And I'm just gonna safely and carefully walk my way back to where I was to see what the commotion was.
So when you walk back into the main area, you see Grimm at the front of the tavern holding the edges of the door frame, saying, wait, I can explain. And you notice everyone except one patron, which is the strange purple-robed man, leaving the tavern with Vargyr leading the mob.
And I was like, hey, what's going on? I know, well, so something clear. I tried the drinks too. Something happened to me, but I think I'm fine. How about y'all just calm down, and we'll get all this settled out, and we'll have some regular drinks.
Make a persuasion check with disadvantage because you're on fire.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, the second roll would have made me a dirty 20, but we're going to take the 3 instead.
Okay, so they're like, oh my gosh, that guy's on fire! So then they begin like pushing Grimm, and then like as he's latched onto the door, he goes, wait! free drinks for the entire day. And they all go, really? Grim, like, kind of lets go of the door in a cartoonish manner that, like, where all his fingers, like, pop off the frame. And he goes, yes, free drinks the entire day to make up for the terrible inconvenience. Also, to explain, the drinks that I just made called Rainbow Roulette, I do not know the ingredients. And they're kind of like all persuaded and they're like, oh, okay. So they all walk inside, but kind of half of them are actually intrigued by the fireman in the corner. So they then walk up to you. Vargyr, what do you do?
Well, since I exactly know how this other ghost is like tied to me, can I like make some sort of check to figure out how to make it go away?
Yeah, you can make an Arcana check.
I can't exactly do that with the other one because I don't know what's going on with the other one, but I know how this one works.
Yeah, at least you had a cause and effect relationship.
Well, I got dirty 20.
Dirty 20? Okay. So the liquid that you consume and what Grimace said about the drink, it sounds like that you either literally or metaphorically ate his flesh. So whatever the grandpa did, it seems like maybe there's like a sentient ingredient that's now inside of you. So if you pass it normally, or if you throw it up, you possibly could get rid of him.
Oh boy.
So I don't know how Vargyr's digestive system works.
So
like
are
I'm
you
just
gonna
normal.
wait, or are you gonna have a fun time?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
As you think, you can see Grimace just kind of floating in the air going, wee! It's like, let's have fun, Vargyr! And you see Bahir just kind of floating behind you, which also is almost like a character trope of his. It doesn't seem like he ever wants to get in front of you or be beside you. It almost seems like he always wants to stand right behind you to your left. But you see him looking in disgust, crossing his arms.
I've got some brewer supplies. I don't know if I can make anything out of that to like kind of expel stuff from my system.
Sure. Make a wisdom check plus your proficiency, because I think you're proficient in the brewer's kit, to try and make a throw up concoction. Or do you want like a laxative, or do you want like a
Just whatever can get it out as fast as possible.
If not, I'm proficient.
All right. Okay,
so.
depending on what you roll, it will be what you get.
Okay, hold on 1 second. So that's 19.
Okay, so you make I guess I'll ask you what you'd prefer. Would you rather pass it through your stool, or would you rather throw it up?
I guess throw it up since that's really going to be more immediate than having to wait. So,
All right, so you make an instant throw up concoction. As soon as you consume it, it'll almost immediately throw up anything inside of you. And you see Grimace going, wait, don't do this, please. And he gets it on
I
his
just
knees.
ignore him and automatically just
Please,
down
please,
it.
please. And he starts grabbing on your clothes, even though he knows it's not going to do anything. He goes, please, don't do it. So you go ahead and down it, and then immediately, as soon as you drink it, you throw up on the wood. And you see him saying, Vargyr, I always loved you. And you see him fade away. And you see purple and white vomit on the wooden floor. Flint, you see this, and you kind of have an inner obligation to clean it up so that the other patrons aren't disgusted. So what do you do?
I'll go over and clean it up and see what happens, essentially. Kind of, I would say mop it up.
Right,
Hopefully I don't catch the mop on fire, but we'll see what happens.
As you're mopping it up, you're right next to Vargyr, and as you look in the pile of vomit, you see Grimace's face just kind of like crying a little bit. You can't tell if you're just imagining this because of what your grandpa concocted, or maybe this is actually a physical state that's happening.
I was like, ugh. And I just mop it up because I don't know what drink I had. I don't know what this is. I'm just going to clean it up, and you know what? We're just going to clean it and put it away. And then also, do I note the other damage that happened earlier? Is that wooden or what material?
So like a pretty thick wooden beam has been broken. Now there are several wooden beams keeping up the upstairs area. However, this one seems pretty integral, and now you see that it's lopsided slightly.
Well, if I have time to, I do have the mending spell, and I'm going to mend it.
All right. So you clean up the vomit, I'd say, pretty easily, and then you go over there and mend it. And now the patrons are very excited. You almost have like a mob following you around, asking you questions. They're like, whoa, how do I get to this state? Are you okay? Is your skin burning?
Judah, or my on fire still?
No, it looks like your hair and skin look perfectly fine.
Well, I just tell him, well, no, I feel fine. It definitely looks like I'm on fire, though.
So, Vargyr, what do you do now that you're kind of in a good state?
Definitely not going back into that tavern again.
Well,
Yeah, he's walking out.
So, all right. So, Vargyr, you walk out, and then you feel a chill down your spine. And you feel a chill down your spine, and you also feel like static electricity behind you, and it feels like Behemir is freaking out. Almost like a sixth sense.
I ask him, like, what are you okay?
I feel a darkness coming from over there.
So you look to your right down this alleyway, and you see a graveyard with a mausoleum in the middle. And you see kind of a fog rising above the ground in the graveyard, kind of seeping down the street.
I ask Bemir what he thinks it is.
I think that's why I brought you here.
So I instinctively just take out my bow and arrow and I cautiously walk over to where the fog's coming from.
Okay, so cutting back to Flint, you are now kind of surrounded by a mob, and they are hounding you with questions. What's going on? Are we going to be okay? Like, how do we get that drink?
well, I'm assuming we have unlimited quantity, or did Grim just make like a whole bunch?
A whole bunch of different drinks.
Well, I ushered him, come follow me, and I'll lead him to where the other drinks are, and I'll describe the drink that I had myself, but also look at Grim and kind of whisper to him, like, do you know how long this is going to last? As I'm like physically on fire still.
Just piss it out. You'll be okay.
Okay. And then I look back towards our little mob we got going on here. Of course, they're choosing drinks and they're probably asking, still questions like, how long is it going to be? Well, from what I understand, once it gets out of your system, the effects should be fully disabled. So, just drink and have fun, and let's party.
So they all cheer, and you start passing out the drinks, and they start downing the drinks one by one, and almost immediately you see effects. One has like sparkles and rainbows, and their eyes glow really wide, like an anime character. And then one gets like super buff and masculine, and then the Goliath at the bar, he starts crying, and the tears almost start flooding his area. You see the elf lady, she looks like anger from inside out. She's like blood red all over her skin, and she's yelling. She's like, why are you being such a wuss? I didn't even say anything. I just said your axe was not as sharp as mine. And you see her shouting at him. But as all this is going on, Charles, make a perception check.
Lovely. Okay. Perception. That would be a 13.
So you notice at the front door, all the windows in the side door that leads to the alleyway with the graveyard, which is like your dump area where you dump all your trash and leftovers, there's a blue and green mist seeping into the tavern. And Cody, we're going to switch to you now. As you step forward, step by step closer to the graveyard, you notice the sky is darkening, green lightning is streaking across the sky, and all of a sudden, an explosion from the mausoleum. The mausoleum is destroyed completely, flinging the door of the mausoleum at you. Make a dexterity saving throw.
That's a 12.
A 12? All right, I don't think that's going to be enough. The door of the mausoleum, the marble, slams straight into you, flinging you to the front of the alleyway and also squishing you underneath it. Take a D8 of damage.
Oh no.
Charles, while that's happening, you hear the explosion, and all the patrons are now shocked. And they're looking around, and a large piece of marble debris smashes through the roof, smashing one of the patrons. You see the windows all smash open, with the fog now seeping into the building. All the patrons are running around screaming. What do you do?
Well, everyone stay calm and I'm gonna go see what that commotion is about, and I'm gonna follow where that door basically came from my roof. And it's more fixing I have to do later. A lot of mending.
All right, so you go out the side door where all the trash is, because that's the closest spot where the hole is. And you notice two things. You notice a volcanic burst of dark smoke coming from the mausoleum in the graveyard. And you also notice Vargyr, who's grasping to life underneath this wall to your left.
That's lovely. I'm gonna go make sure he's okay, and I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on him.
All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and let you know he's still underneath the marble slab.
Yeah, and well, after I Cure Wounds him a bit, and then after that, I was going to try assist, trying to move that off of him.
All right, Cody, how much damage did you take?
I took 2.
Okay, Charles, go ahead and make the Cure Wounds roll.
It's 2d8 plus 2, and it ended up coming out to a 14.
Then, yeah, Cody, you feel back to normal health. However, if you don't get this slab moved in the next 2 turns, it's going to crush your chest again, reverting you back to your original damaged self.
Boy.
So, Charles and Cody, as you guys attempt to lift this slab off of Cody, you see the black smoke spewing out of the mausoleum now is forming a face above the little town, and you see green eyes and a green mouth form out of the smoke, saying, "People of this world, a darkness is coming, and you are in danger." And as he says that, you notice the undead rising out of the graveyard down that alleyway. Skeletons, zombies, and ghouls of all sorts rising out of their graves and out of the mausoleum where the volcanic smoke is coming from.